Once upon a time, in the small village of O'Connor, lived a girl named Sandra. Sandra was a bright, cheerful child with a heart full of dreams. She had a best friend named John, a boy from the neighboring village of Icicle. John was kind, intelligent, and always had a smile on his face. The two children were inseparable, spending their days playing in the fields and exploring the woods near their villages. Sandra and John went to the same elementary school. Their classmates often teased them, calling them a husband and wife. Despite the teasing, Sandra and John remained best friends. They sat next to each other in class, shared their lunches, and supported each other through thick and thin. Their bond was special, and everyone around them could see it. As they grew older, life took them in different directions. After finishing elementary school, Sandra and John went to different universities. They lost contact, but neither of them forgot the special bond they shared. Years later, during their youth service, fate brought Sandra and John back together. Both were posted to the same hospital, John as a doctor and Sandra as a nurse. When they saw each other for the first time after so many years, Sandra and John were overcome with emotion. They had both grown and changed, but their bond was still there, stronger than ever. When they saw each other for the first time after so many years, they were astonished. They hugged and reminisced about old times, rekindling their friendship. John, now a handsome and kind-hearted doctor, was moved to see how much Sandra had grown into a beautiful and caring nurse. Sandra, on the other hand, was amazed by how much John had matured and how his kindness had only grown. They quickly became friends again, catching up on everything that had happened in their lives. Their friendship soon blossomed into love. They spent their days working side by side, and their evenings were filled with long walks and heartfelt conversations. It wasn't long before John realized that Sandra was the one he wanted to spend the rest of his life with. One evening, under the starry sky, John got down on one knee and asked, "Sandra, will you marry me?" Sandra had fantasized about this moment for a long time. She felt butterflies in her stomach and tears of joy in her eyes. Without hesitation, she said, "Yes, John. I will marry you." Excited about their future, John and Sandra shared their plans with their families. However, their joy was short-lived. Both families vehemently objected to their union. Sandra's mother, with a look of deep concern, explained, "My daughter, you know we love you and want the best for you. Marrying John from Icicle village will bring shame to this family. There was a serious land dispute between our villages. The land belongs to us, but they took it by force. Our chief decided that we would never associate with Icicle again. Tradition is tradition, and it will stand. Please, do not bring shame to us." Sandra was heartbroken but resolute. "I love John so much, and no one can stop me, not even my parents. I would rather die than not marry John." John faced similar opposition from his family. They warned him that marrying Sandra would be a violation of tradition and could lead to severe consequences. But John, like Sandra, was determined. He couldn't imagine his life without her. Their family's strong objection to their union only made John and Sandra more determined to be together. They knew that they were meant to be and that nothing, not even tradition, could keep them apart. Undeterred, John and Sandra decided to elope. They packed their bags, leaving behind everything they knew and loved, and ventured into the unknown. It was a bold move, but one they knew was right in their hearts. They traveled to a distant town and got married in a small, private ceremony. But the couple believed that their love was strong enough to overcome any obstacle. Their family's strong objection to their union only made John and Sandra more determined to be together. They knew that they were meant to be and that nothing, not even tradition, could keep them apart. It wasn't the lavish wedding they had dreamed of, but it was a beautiful moment filled with love and hope. At first, their families were furious and refused to speak to them. John and Sandra had broken with tradition and brought shame upon their families. John and Sandra settled in a quiet little town where they knew nobody. They rented a small house on the edge of town and began to build a life together. John worked at the local hospital as a doctor, while Sandra continued her work as a nurse. Despite the challenges, their love only grew stronger. They discovered new things about each other, shared new experiences, and grew closer with each passing day. They missed their families deeply but found solace in each other's arms. Their happiness was soon blessed with the arrival of 3 beautiful children. John and Sandra worked hard to provide for their family, and their children brought immense joy into their lives. Suddenly, an outbreak of a deadly disease swept through their homeland, killing many villagers. Desperate for a cure, the villagers learned that the hospital where John worked had successfully treated many patients. Reluctantly, the people of O'Connor and Isiko set aside their differences and sought help from John's hospital. When the chief of the 2 villages heard this, they realized they had no choice but to reconcile. They approached John and Sandra, seeking forgiveness and hoping to settle the long-standing land dispute amicably. With the deadly disease eradicated and John's skills as a doctor praised, the people of both villages came to respect and admire him. His work as a healer helped bring the 2 communities together, and the love he shared with Sandra seemed to permeate the air, inspiring others to open their hearts and see past old grudges. John, never harboring resentment, accepted their apologies and treated all the patients equally. His dedication and compassion helped save many lives, and soon the land was free from illness. With the outbreak under control, John and Sandra decided to return to their villages. They were welcomed with open arms and heartfelt apologies. The chiefs of O'Connor and Isiko publicly acknowledged their mistake and praised John and Sandra for their courage and dedication. John and Sandra's families were overwhelmed with emotion. They realized the strength and beauty of the couple's love and deeply regretted their past actions. Sandra's mother, with tears in her eyes, said, "We were wrong, my daughter. We were blinded by tradition and could not see the love and happiness right in front of us. Please forgive us." John and Sandra embraced their families, tears of joy and forgiveness flowing freely. They returned to their homes, their hearts filled with love and gratitude. In a grand ceremony, the 2 villages came together to celebrate John and Sandra's love. The chiefs of both villages declared their acceptance of the union and proclaimed that from that day forward, there would be peace and friendship between O'Connor and Isiko. The couple, surrounded by the love and support of their families and friends, knew that they had overcome a great obstacle. Their story would be told for generations to come, a reminder that love and courage can conquer all. John and Sandra forgave their families and decided to build a future together in their homeland. They used their savings to build one of the biggest hospitals in the 2 communities, providing much-needed health care to the people of O'Connor and Isiko. Their story became a legend, inspiring others to follow their hearts and never give up on love. The once feuding villages began to change their traditions, allowing young couples to marry without restrictions. John and Sandra's love had brought about a profound transformation, teaching everyone that true love could overcome any obstacle. One day, a group of elders from neighboring villages visited John and Sandra. "We have seen the goodness in your love," one of the elders said. "We have seen how it has brought joy and acceptance to your families. We ask for your forgiveness for our narrow-mindedness. We have learned from you that tradition is not always right and that love is the most important thing in life." John and Sandra were humbled by the elders' words. They knew their struggle had not been in vain. Their families, once divided, were now united in love and respect. The couple's story became a symbol of hope and courage, proving that true love could indeed conquer all. Years passed, and John and Sandra's legacy continued to inspire future generations. Their children grew up hearing the story of their parents' love and the sacrifices they made. They carried forward the values of love, courage, and unity, making their parents proud. John and Sandra lived a long, fulfilling life, surrounded by their children and grandchildren. They often sat under the old oak tree where they had first reunited, reminiscing about their journey and the love that had carried them through the toughest times. In the end, John and Sandra's story was not just about two people defying tradition to be together. It was about the power of love to heal, to unite, and to inspire. It was a testament to the fact that when two hearts are truly meant to be together, no force on earth can keep them apart. And so, John and Sandra lived happily ever after, their love story etched in the hearts of all who knew them, a beacon of hope for all who believed in the power of true love.